Episode 10 of Quintessential Quintuplets just dropped and now only 2 episodes remain. This season for this anime has been pretty solid. With each passing episode, a lot of things are introduced and they're placed very well. And this episode is no different, and unlike season 1 where the focus was on the characters mostly, this season makes it feel there's a world established, and that plays a pretty big part in an anime regardless of what kind of anime it is. So diving into episode 10, Fuutaro was contemplating what was happening in last week's episode where Ichika, disguised as Miku, indirectly confessed to him. He was then greeted by the blonde popular dude from his class, and a bit of advice here I like to say, especially to guys, when someone is going about their business in the toilet, you do not converse or interact with them until they're finished, because that's just rude and it's downright awkward. This guy then goes on to say how the Nakanos can be a handful, along with stating he knows a fair bit about them due to their fathers being acquainted. He further adds that Futaro's grades have dropped severely and boasts about how his grades have now surpassed Futaro's. Now you can probably tell that I already don't really like this guy, and it's kind of one of those tropes where a sudden third wheel appears, apparently acquainted with either one of the main characters, in this case being the Nakanos. Futaro basically throws it back in his face by asking who even is this guy, which is pretty satisfying and hilarious to watch. This guy is pretty persistent because he even follows Futaro to the library with the Nakanos and even states right out in front of them that Futaro's grades have dropped and that it should be in their best interest that he should be the one to take over and teach them instead, and how they're holding him back. Now I can kind of see where this is going and I can't say I like it. Now that's not to say that I dislike the writing, but this is one of those personality traits that I find quite annoying. But it gets better as Futaro kind of throws it back in his face again by saying they haven't been holding him back and that they're one of the main reasons that he has developed and matured even more as a person. Now this is one of the reasons why I like Futaro as a character, because he knows when to humble himself despite his intellect and introverted personality, and while it is true that teaching the Nakanos have taken his time away from his own studying time, he has never once blamed them for it, and that he believes that his failings are due to his own shortcomings, not theirs. And this easily is one of the highlights of this episode, as it encapsulates Futaro's character development since season 1 into one scene. He even throws a bet at this dude saying that he's going to aim for top 10 as opposed to the top 100. And this first half of the episode depicts a very realistic representation of a student's struggles to prepare for an exam, as it once again adds more to Futaro's character by showing he's not some easygoing genius, but that he has his own challenges to face. You can even see how he has eye bags right even up to taking the actual test. The Nakanos feel concerned about Futaro's well-being understandably and came to a consensus to put on hold Futaro's birthday celebration, at least until after the exams are over. But as expected, some like Ichika, Nino, and Miku wanted to discreetly give him a present. Also now the cards are on the table where Nino, Miku, and Ichika are aware of each other's feelings for Fuutaro. Yotsuba wanted to keep things civil between them but still wanted to give Fuutaro something and decided to keep it small and simple for him in the form of 5 origami cranes made from their mock test sheets. I'm not sure what it's supposed to imply, but I guess you could interpret them as mementos or as something to keep Futaro motivated, so it's a pretty neat gift. Itsuki did buy him a drink, but I guess that could be considered a courtesy as opposed to a birthday gift. So the mock exam period went by and the Nakanos once again scored higher than their previous test. It is also revealed that the blonde guy has in fact been personally interacting with the Nakanos' father, acting as some sort of observer, or I'd rather say spy for him, and that includes Futaro as well, which would also partially explain their father's constant distaste for Futaro. This also ticked me off about the dude, but he got some points back as it turns out Futaro scored 3rd place nationally, therefore winning the initial bet. And he even gave some sort of respect and acknowledgement towards Futaro, so he has some redeeming qualities. I'll give him that. Setting aside their grades, Miku for example has been making progress in her cooking skills, as Yotsuba, the test subject, was evaluating her progress and she did pull through despite some initial flops. Yotsuba is then caught up in a dilemma where Miku and Ichika request to be in the same group as Futaro for the school trip, but only one group can have 5 people, so someone's going to have to be excluded. Raiha reminds her brother that he needs to thank Yotsuba for her help at the school camp and such, so he sets out with a budget of 1,000 to 1,500 yen for a gift, which isn't a lot, trust me. I remember when I went to Japan and I spent a lot more than that in a single day. Also, I'm getting major Iroha vibes here once Yotsuba claims this counts as a date. It may not be intentional, but I think it is a cool Easter egg. So they went to a few places and it's apparent that none of them is what Yotsuba actually wants. They ended up going to a park that Yotsuba visits quite often to chill, and it does provide a pretty majestic nightscape view. Also, I don't know why, but I was a bit on edge during this scene because I thought one of them was going to end up flying off the swings and getting injured, like especially when Yotsuba literally jumped off. The scene was pretty heartwarming, and Fuutaro did end up just giving her the school notes, which was originally intended for Raiha, but she says she already got what she wanted, which I think was just a nice hangout with Fuutaro. Now, backing up a bit in the episode just before this scene, there was a major reveal that the episode kind of glosses over or underrates, which was Rena's identity. Ichika came across a box of stuff in their apartment and Itsuki quickly takes it away, and inside we can see a wig that resembles Rena's hair. And if that wasn't already enough evidence, the picture of Kid Fuutaro and one of the quintuplets that Rena took from him the last time they met slipped out of the box. So it is heavily implied here that Rena is Itsuki. Now, I'm not sure if it was intentionally portrayed this way or that it was written this way in the manga, but again, I'm sure it will be touched upon later, so we'll just have to wait and see. And the scene isn't supposed to be dramatic to any of the characters at that time, so I get how it feels like it's casually dismissed. So now the time has come for the class to split into groups for the school trip, and as expected, Riku, Ichika and Nino were haggling over to be in Futaro's group, but the latter ends the discussion by stating he's already in a group, which was with the blonde guy and another student we know nothing about yet. And all the Nakanos ended up in the same group, so I guess at least they weren't split up, which is a good thing. So overall, the episode had a lot to break down, but it's pretty well paced. Things have progressed and we now know the identity of Rena, at least I believe it's Itsuki, though I'm not 100% sure. So once again, thank you for watching, and feel free to leave down your thoughts on the episode in the comments below, and have a nice day.